Shalom, everybody. Welcome back. We have insights in the Parsha of the week, Parshat Pekudey. Amazing excitement before Purim Bezrat Hashem. If you noticed, we have a few Parshiot dealing extensively about the tabernacle, the building of the tabernacle, the materials. This week's Parsha Pekudey, last week Vayakel, Parshat Truma, and in the Zohar also they take up giant volumes just on the Parshiot. So much is invested in the Torah on the Holy Temple. So much. And you begin to wonder, what was the purpose of the Holy Temple? The purpose of the Holy Temple, and obviously included is the Mishkan, the tabernacle, while the Jews were traveling, is that it serves as a type of interface beacon between us and Hashem. To explain better, this world is physical matter. It's a place. It takes up matter and place, and we call this place a makom. Okay? And Hashem is the root and the source of everything, obviously, in the world. And he's also called the makom. We call Hashem the makom, which means the place. He's the place of the world, and the world is not his place. Okay? So, logically, when Hashem created us, the goal is, of every human being, of every Jew, in that case, is that our goal is to connect from this physical matter of this world, from here to connect to Hashem. But it's not easy. It's not easy. Jews and in history were given a chance and again to attempt to do that, and it didn't work. Okay, first example was the golden calf. The Jews were expected, with the light of receiving at Har Sinai, the Torah and everything, to be able to connect to Hashem from the physical matter. It didn't work out. They fell to idolatry and everything. So part of the atonement of the correction of the golden calf was that there should be a type of a place which is a beacon to connect to Hashem. In other words, the Holy Temple, on one hand, is made of physical matter, the walls, the gold, the materials that made to build the tabernacle, and by extension, the temple in Yerushalayim. Okay? Once they were coordinated and configured in the right prescription that Hashem prescribes in building them, in designing them, and in placing them in the Torah, as explains in the building of the Mishkan Truma, in Vayakel, in Pekudey. Once it's done properly, then the Shekhinah descended down below and rested in the Holy Temple, serving as a place, a makom, for Hashem's presence in this world. Okay? So when we daven anywhere in the world, we always face Israel, Yerushalayim, the holy mountain of the Temple Mount, and the Holy of Holies. Okay, we're always facing this point wherever we are, and that's our connector to Hashem. So from here you see that the temple is half physical, or the tabernacle also half physical, and the spiritual element filling it up from above is the spiritual part, physical and spiritual. So this is something unique of the temple, in that it's an interface way to connect to Hashem. Now, why this is our help and assistance, because on our own, when we try to transform from physical matter to connect to God, it's very difficult. It's very hard. We fall easily. So because of this, there's the temple and the tabernacle. And like the sages teach, that now that the temple has been destroyed, what do we have instead of the Beit HaMikdash and the Mishkan? We have, like the Gemara says, Batei Knesiot and Batei Midrashot, the synagogues and the houses of study that Jews get together and learn and davim. Those are what's called the Mikdash Me'at. Vasuli Mikdash Me'at. That's a verse in Yechezkel, I think, that Hashem says, and they should make for me a small, like, temple, Mikdash, a holy temple, which is referring to the synagogues and Batei Midrashot. What's the idea? That when there's a unity of Jews getting together to pray, to learn, whatever, a study hall, a synagogue, that actually serves as also a conduit to channel down spirituality. Now, Rav Nosson explains that the physical world in itself is dictated and governed by the laws of nature. In the laws of nature, you can't expect miracles. Miracles come from the supernatural, from what's above the nature, which is the spiritual. So the source, Rav Nosson explains, the source of miracles happening in the world ultimately are connected to the place of the Holy Temple. Even after its destruction, the Beit HaMikdash and the Mishkan, being half physical and half spiritual, are also a conduit for supernatural miracles to take place. That's why when we daven also, we're asking Hashem for miracles, we're also facing the temple in a sense, okay? And our davening of a minyan in a quorum. And even when not, even a person's doing hitbodedut and everything, ultimately all bracha, all blessings, all miracles coming down to the world, they come down from the Beit HaMikdash, Rav Nosson explains, and they go to all the other places in the world, okay? That's why the halacha says, when a person comes to a place where he had a miracle, he says, Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu mecholam, she'asa li nes b'makom hazeh, that Hashem made a miracle for me in this makom. And Rav Nosson explains, we use the word makom, because makom means one hand, physical place. Number two, it's a term for the Holy Temple, the Beit HaMikdash. And number three, it's a term for Hashem. So showing that the miracles come from above into the physical world through the temple, which is called makom, okay? So this is the idea of a temple. Why we need one? Because on our own, we don't have a chance to draw down this light and energy of supernatural miracles through prayer. We need something which is half-half, okay? So this is the idea of the temple and why the Torah puts so much emphasis on the building of the Mishkan and that there should be a Mishkan and a temple eventually, because we all need this intermediary conduit. Not chas v'shalom that God forbid, we're praying to God, but we need a building, an edifice, which is on one hand physical, but on the other hand it's spiritual. It's like us. We have a physical body, and we have a neshama from above. But on our own, it's very easy to fall. However, when we're unified by a building, by a structure, by unification, that allows for the light to come down. Okay? So with all this, we can also understand why Haman and his sons wanted to stop the rebuilding of the second temple. It says in the historical background of the Megillah, the Purim story, that Koresh, the first Koresh, allowed for the Jews to start rebuilding the second temple. Okay, came along eventually Haman and his sons, and they ordered to stop the rebuilding. The Jews had already started rebuilding the temple in the Holy Land, in Yerushalayim, but it was ordered to be stopped, okay? And even Achashverosh, when trying to fulfill the request for Esther, he would say to her, Esther, whatever you ask of me, ad chatzia malchut v'te'as, anything you ask me until the half of my kingdom. What's half of my kingdom? Rashi says that until the place of the Beit HaMikdash, to rebuild it, ask me anything except for that. The temple which stands in midway point, halfway of Achashverosh's kingdom of 127 countries. So you can ask me anything except for that point of rebuilding the temple. What were they so afraid about? What was Haman's sons and Achashverosh worried about? Let them build the temple. What's the problem? Because the temple is the whole opposite of their kingship and the rulership and the wanting of Haman, Amalek, and all the enemies of Judaism. How are they our enemies? What's wrong? They want just an exclusive atheistic existence to enjoy this world, and they work hard to disprove miracles and supernatural. Everything is under natural, money, business, vacation, enjoying this world, worldly pleasures. The Beit HaMikdash, the temple, and what it stands for is directly against that. It's to activate miracles on a supernatural level, using the physicality of this world, the building of the edifice of the Holy Temple and the tabernacle, using that as a means to draw down supernatural miracles, nisim, that we need. They were against that because they want all of a person's success specifically to come to kochi ve'otzem yadi, my strength, my power, my money, my wealth, my riches, my brain, my success, my physical success. That's what's going to get me in life. That was Haman Amalek mentality, Haman's 10 sons mentality, and Achashverosh's mentality. That's why they all were against the rebuilding of the temple. So with this we see, B'ezrat Hashem, the greatness of the temple, why we need it so badly. And B'ezrat Hashem, we're hoping every day for the rebuilding of the third temple. And with the preparation of these Shabbatot, and now with the miracle of Purim, we should be Zoche B'ezrat Hashem to have this activated. Shabbat Shalom, and have an amazing week.